it's really awesome to see that like you are getting that type of crowd that's gonna follow you as you just grow and just get better and better. So when you wanted to do country music,
I don't think like because I am working on country music right now. I know I posted that all over social media.
Skilla, Sleazy, what was it like kind of like opening up for those guys? Because those are some pretty big names in the game, especially Young Jock. Like,
yeah, there's a whole story about me opening for Young Jock because I was so nervous. I opened and like I ended up like throwing up like 30 minutes before I was supposed to go on stage, and my friend was like trying to give me ice chips, like trying to get me to calm down.
Did you like keep a distance so he didn't smell and you like puke or anything?
Oh my God, yes. I was so scared the whole time. I was literally like, let me not get in this man's face. Whereas, I mean, I could be in St. Louis every day, but I'd probably get in a lot more trouble. You know what I'm saying?
Fair. Ideal guy for Faith Miller. Let's hear it.
And that's me giving away all the sauce. I feel like I was trying to be so mysterious.
I mean, sometimes
I wish I could say what I was doing on camera, but this past weekend, but I can't because I don't know if I can talk about it yet because it's not out. But
right. I mean, you can put it on here.
I mean, yeah, I mean, probably at this point, but I got booked to be.
They don't even know what the problem is. It's me. You waiting on the boy to fail, then hold your breath and face your death. Cause you play a roulette with each step.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to Men the Podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Jared Williams. We have a special guest today, an up-and-coming artist in the St. Louis area. She's opened for very high names like Young Jock, Skilla Baby, and Sleazy Flow. Introduce, this is Faith Miller, everybody.
What's up, everybody? How are y'all doing today? How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. We're excited to have you. We've been kind of having this conversation for a minute to like figure out what's a good time to get you on the pod. So I'm really happy that we were able to do this today.
Yeah, I was super excited when you reached out because I feel like I really vibe with your podcast and I like the nature of the conversations that you guys are having. So I was excited to get on.
Heck yeah, and I appreciate that. And one thing that like we're really big on too, what we kind of talked off camera is that we're very big on not pushing narratives, that we really want people to find their own narrative in society and kind of navigate the world how they want to navigate the world and not be afraid to just express how they feel, not let certain media outlets control how they feel and anything like that. So it's really big of why we kind of do what we do right now.
Yeah, I feel like that's huge. I feel like it's important to have a space where people can feel how they want to feel and, you know, be themselves without having like that pressure of like an agenda being pushed. Because a lot of people, like whenever they want to be on their phone or get on social media, like they just want to zone out or tap out of what's going on in reality. But we're faced with so many things right now that are just like an agenda or an argument or just something that's super duper negative. And like whether or not something like actually comes off as negative, sometimes there's just bad negative energy in it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And kind of to lead into kind of what I want to ask, you mentioned something about like negativity and things like that. How do you keep a strong mindset of like when it comes to creating your music and just continue to push forward depending on like people want to say certain things about how you operate and the things that you do?
That's a good one. I feel like sometimes, specifically when I go in to record, like I have to be in like the right space and the settings have to be right. So if I know that somebody's super like annoying or like rude or is gonna have like negative opinions, like I hate to say this, oh my god, I don't even want to say this, but like my ex would get so mad when I would write, and for me, like I really didn't let a whole lot of people into like that experience of like actually being with me in the studio. So he was probably the first person I ever really let come with me to like a studio session and stuff like that. And letting him see like my whole creative process, it was super disheartening to see that he would get upset because he would think that I'm like writing about other guys or writing about a different situation. Oh, you must like this dude or, you know, whatever. And it's like, it was never about that. For me, it's about sometimes putting myself in different situations or like just trying to get the song done or like what fits, what doesn't. Now, that's not to say that I don't have songs that aren't about personal experience. I very much do. As an artist, you can only write from your perspective. But I feel like for me, you know, it got to a point where I was just like, you know what, like you just can't be here anymore. You just have bad energy or you can't come to this shoot, you know, just creating that boundary with people and just making sure that, you know, they don't cross that line, because people pick up on energy whenever you record something in a microphone, whenever you're recording a video, all that stuff translates. So if you're shooting a music video and the vibes are bad, people are going to pick up on it subconsciously.
100%.
You know, so I'm really trying to make sure that everything's good and that I'm feeling good, especially if I'm going in or that because at the end of the day with music, you're expressing how you feel, and you're trying to get other people to understand how you feel or evoke the same emotions that you're feeling. So I want to put myself in a position where I can accurately express what I'm feeling,
Right.
or trying to get people to feel. You know what I'm saying?
100%. So I actually saw something recently. You said Ashley Booker, your producer, really kind of helped you find your voice, and really was kind of the reason why you took music so seriously. So kind of talk on that, about like your journey with music and what led you to Ashley and now the things that you guys are doing now a little bit.
Yeah, so I feel like I just hit a point in my life where I didn't think I was going to do music anymore. And he had reached out to me, and I've told this story 1,000 times, but I'm going to tell it again. He literally called me on Christmas Eve, which I didn't answer the phone because it was Christmas Eve. I was with my family. But I called him back 2 days later, and we talked for I think 3 hours. And I just dumped my whole life on him and was just like, I want to do music. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I really want to take it seriously. This is what I want to do. There's no plan B for me. And he was like, okay, let's, let's get in the studio. Let's, work on stuff. And we kind of just developed a friendship over just that recording process and stuff like that. But I feel like in order to get comfortable with really building on, making music, it's such a personal thing that you have to be friends with the people that you're making music with. You have to have a good relationship, and I think that's important. And so us building that friendship, I think, was the foundation for us being able to do what we're doing today. And for him with me, he always said he felt like in my music, there was something there, but I was just missing this edge. I was just missing this bite, and he just felt like I just needed to explore my own writing skills, because I feel like for a long time I was relying on other people or other ideas or features or things like that, and I needed to really just be comfortable telling who I was. But I think it was because for the longest time I always felt like I couldn't talk about the things that I wanted to talk about, and I had to get over that for myself and just get comfortable exploring every avenue and get comfortable with myself, and that's, as an artist, that's different.
Right.
But
and for the people that don't know, Ashley Booker is a very well-known producer who's actually from St. Louis, has worked with a long list of lives. I definitely recommend people to look at his resume. But one thing that hearing you kind of talk and just hearing the type of person he is, it goes a long way when someone's really pouring into you and actually sees that potential in you. And I feel like right now, when you're in a situation like that, it allows you to really think in a headspace that you probably never even thought about. Was that kind of what that process was like? Because I think you said at one point you wanted to do country music. So let's just say you are not doing that right now. So was that kind of that same process with him trying to push you to find your voice in a lot of things?
Well, I think it wasn't necessarily strictly with genres, because I honestly, vocally, I can kind of float anywhere and I can kind of go any direction. It was more so about me developing a pen where I can walk into a room if somebody is playing a beat and I can start figuring things out and piecing things together. Because we're at the point right now where it doesn't, every single thing he's beat, every single project we've worked on, I can come up with something because I've developed that skill. Right. And I feel like that was something that he really wanted. We would just literally just make music. We would just go back to the drawing board, or he'd be like, you can do something better, do something a little bit more personal, or you can come up with something better. I know you can do better than that. And it was just a process of just doing that over and over again, where now it's I'm just so comfortable with, being able to walk in and just write something. And I don't think because I am working on country music right now. I know I posted that all over social media, which I originally, when I first started writing music, because that's the music I grew up with, I think for me, that was the first thing that I gravitated towards. So I actually have a lot of music that I wrote, just me and a piano, that I've never ever published before. And one thing that me and Ash have actually talked about is going back and re-recording that stuff, because some of that music is stuff that's so personal to me, and stuff that I never wanted to explore, but because I did my homework and I went back and not fought those demons, but I was learning all that stuff about myself. That's a part of my journey, and I feel in people understanding who Faith is, I feel that's also a part of that. So we've actually explored going back and re-recording a lot of that music 100%. With a whole band. Right. So yeah.
And you can definitely touch on this better than me, but one thing that I especially noticed, because I'm an avid music lover, I love rap music. I love R&B music. And I've dibble-dabble, listened to other things like certain genres that I do like. But I feel like music now is definitely in a place where it's not anymore where like, I feel like in the 90s where people work so hard just to get their song on the radio, where like, this is my big break that I'm getting
Yeah.
there. Where like, there's so many avenues now to get music where like, you hear songs that like, you probably haven't heard for 5 years that are just blowing up on TikTok. And like,
Right.
that's that artist getting his big break. Or kind of what you said about not really touching yourself in genres where like, guys like Shabuzi, he does rap and country. And he's
Right. Yeah.
killing the game right now. So like,
Literally Grammy nominated.
exactly.
Yeah.
So like when you think about like your music, your personal touch, like are you looking for a certain market to hit, or you just want to just kind of just unapologetically just be you and just wherever it falls, it just falls?
So I think for me, like I said earlier, like I can kind of go anywhere, but I feel like for me, I think I'm a little bit of everything. And I think we live in a world right now where like, why not explore everything? And I feel like music's so subjective and so many people, I feel like I put out a wide variety of music over this past year, like something that's a little bit more urban, something that's more pop, something, I'm coming with a Christmas record, we've got
Right.
so many different things going on, but, and like I have a ton of different music. I think for me, it's just about putting out what feels right, like the next step forward for me. And that's kind of how I've just been taking it. But I do also like to plan and strategize things too before. But specifically to answer your question, I feel like my target audience is anybody that resonates with my music. I don't want to just like narrow it down to like a specific type of person, because honestly, I feel like in doing music, I've been introduced to so many different kinds of people over social media. Like I'd found out that there was a guy that had been following me and supporting my music and always leaves a comment. And I don't want to say his name because I know people figure out who he is like after a while. But I didn't know this, but like he had gone through this like the surgery where he couldn't walk, and like every day he posts these like videos where he's like, is like learning how to walk again. But he taps into my music every single time I post something, or always messages me on my birthday, or anything that has to do with my music. Like he's always like constantly tapped, and I've never met this person before. And to me, it's like, I would have never thought that, an older gentleman that's, in the process of rehabilitation, like learning how to walk again, my music, he cares about, you know what I'm saying? So I don't want to just narrow it down to just one kind of person, because you just never know. Like my coworkers like my music. I mean, some of them, it's not like a genre that they would gravitate towards, but it's stuff that they like and they'll listen to and they'll make their families listen to because I'm singing it.
Right.
But,
No, that's awesome. And it just shows you how strong music is really when it just kind of resonates and kind of gives people like hope, motivation, like with anything, just going to the gym, you just want to listen to a song just to get just hyped, and just to kind of hear that is just awesome. Because even me, I think I've even hold myself to this where like you'll love a song or an artist so much you think you know the person.
no, yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
really do. And just to kind of even hear a guy that like doesn't even know you but is so impacted by what you're saying and like how it makes them even feel, that's really awesome to see. And honestly, like kudos to that guy. Like I hope everything is fine with him in his recovery, but that's awesome. Like I'm kind of breathtaking right now.
No, yeah, I was super shocked. I actually cried when I found out about it, because I'm such a crier. Oof, I hate myself for that. But I literally cried because I was like, that's so crazy. Like this guy has been supporting me. He always comments. I didn't even know this. And like he always messages me such sweet things whenever I drop music or like on my birthday and stuff like that. And it's never like, he's not creepy at all. Like it's not like, but it's just very supportive. I think people like rooting for not the underdog, but they like watching people find themselves. They like watching people work in their purpose and find what they're supposed to do in their life. And I feel like for me that was so special that's I've never met this person, but I'm sharing this moment with them, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's what makes doing music worth it.
Right. And that's kind of a part of like kind of like the coming of age story, or like that growing where like you really resonate with somebody's music, and like just to see them evolve over time, it's like you're kind of growing up with them. Like I remember when I was just a kid listening to Drake's music and just seeing like from 2008 and 9 to see where he is now. Like
Right.
it's like, wow, I've really listened to this guy for almost 20 years, and he's gone through so many different phases, eras of like how he's evolved. So it's really awesome to see that like you are getting that type of crowd that's going to follow you as you just grow and grow and just get better and better. So how does that even make you feel that like you're building that fan base?
I mean, obviously it made me feel really emotional because I feel like the fact that people care about the music that I'm putting out means so much to me because, like I said, I had gotten to a point in my life where I just didn't think I was going to be able to do music anymore. I'm like, do I need to get a real estate license? Like, what am I going to do?
You're just trying to figure it out.
Yeah, trying to figure it out. But then I feel like, meeting Ashley was really like my second chance at music. And I was like, I don't know if I can cuss, but I will never fuck this up. I don't care what's going on. Like, I was like, I promise you, like, I will never fuck this up. Like, this is exactly what I want to do for the rest of my life. And I don't know all the steps to get there, but I just know that, like, I can do this if you just, help me. So, yeah.
And it's funny you say that because we all growing up were like, oh, we want to be a doctor, a lawyer, a football player, basketball, a singer, a rapper, but, like, you're doing it, though. Like,
yeah,
you're actually putting in that groundwork that anybody can say that, but people don't want to put the work in or they don't realize, like, how hard it is. So when you started to, obviously, like, you're on, like, a really good roll right now. Videos are getting 19, 20,000 views and things like that. How do you kind of, like, navigate where, like, you're in situations where, like, things are hard and things like that? Like, was that, like, a shock to you at all of any kind?
Like, are you talking about starting to see, like, small amounts of success or?
Or, I mean, from a standpoint of, like, parts of the music business that you didn't know about that you're like, oh, wow, this is a thing. Like, what was, like, kind of developing those skills through that?
I think a lot of it was just trial and error and just putting yourself out there. I think, and Ash is really big on this, like, you can't overthink things because I think especially in the game that we're in right now with social media and everything being content, if you sit on a record or you're sitting on something and you're not dropping something because it has to be the perfect time or it has to be the perfect this, it has to be the perfect that, like, you're going to miss out on, maybe somebody can, every single song I put out, there's new people, every post or every single piece of content I'm putting out, like, there's new people that are seeing stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like, me clowning around on Halloween and making a little video or whatever, dressing up as Lotto, she reposted it. You know how many people followed me from that?
She did.
Yeah, on Halloween, yeah.
Shout out to Lotto.
My Halloween costume went, like, viral. Yeah, it was awesome.
That's crazy.
Yeah, she, which was huge because she didn't have to do that. I know she looked at my page. She saw I was an artist. She didn't have to do that. She actually reposted me twice. She reposted the video that I did, and then she reposted me on Snapchat, the actual picture, too. So I got the screenshots, too, to prove it. Lotto's my girl. That girl could ask me for anything. I promise you. Like, I love her.
Lotto's on a roll right now. Like, I feel like she's in a situation where, like, everybody's kind of, like, right there. But, like, I feel like Sexy Red and Glorilla are, like, close behind. But, like, she's just so marketable and she's so smart where, like, she knows how to capitalize on certain situations.
Yeah.
And, like, she's just unapologetically her. And I feel like that's so important.
She's been in the game for so much longer than either Glow or Sexy has because, Lotto was on that show. And so she kind of had, like, an experience in being in the actual industry at a young age. And so I feel like she kind of knew what she was getting into and she kind of, like, set herself up for success in presenting herself in this industry. Whereas, and I'm not saying that Sexy Red and Glorilla have it. I love both of them. Oh my God.
Super
live,
talented.
laugh, love everything they do.
Super
literally.
talented individual.
But I just think Lotto has just a little bit more experience, and that's why everything she does kind of, like, she has a little bit more skin in the game. I feel like Ash would say that.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, yeah, she's got more skin in the game. I don't know.
So do you feel that kind of like what it sounds like with her, she played the long ball. Do you kind of use that in a lot of, like, your preparation and your work that, like, it's okay to be patient and kind of play that long game with your career?
Yes, because I feel like when I first started getting into music and trying to, like, figure things out, like, especially when I was in college, I just got so excited, by any opportunity. I just wanted to do everything. And it's like, not everything is going to make sense for you. And trying to push yourself to the limits by trying to do everything, you're going to burn out super fast. And it's also not everything is going to align with your brand. So not every opportunity is worth taking. And I feel like that's even something now in me starting to, see small amounts of success. I feel like I have a lot of people reaching out to me wanting to collaborate or wanting to do certain things, and, like, I want to work with as many people as I can, but not every opportunity is going to make sense for me, and it's going to be actually feasible too.
So when it comes to that, like, those collaborations and things like that, like, is Ash in your ear a lot about that? Like, he's like, hey, like, you could be in a situation where, like, you may want to work with this person, but he doesn't think that, like, do you kind of like, how can I say it? Look at it as like his word is bond, like we're gonna go his direction because he's been in the game longer, or
I feel like Ash has never been like, oh, I don't want you to work with this person's, but like Ash has never ever said that.
Right.
Ash is very much like, do what you want to do. If you want to ask me my opinion on something, I'll give it to you.
Right.
And so if I do anything, like I'll be like, oh, how do you feel about this? If he tells me like, oh, well, I know this and this about this situation or whatever, but I mean, he's never told me like, no, I don't think you should do something. He's always like, do it, like fuck it, let's do it, you know.
heck yeah.
So
And
yeah,
it seems like you guys work well as a team, and a team aspect is really important. And honestly, like, it's always been important to me because either way, when you're in a team, you're going to have differences and creative differences of like how you may want to see something or what he sees. But at the end of the day, it sounds like he more cares about what is the best for you and wants to be there for you, which is awesome. Because like, even with like my guys, when we do things, when we're trying to like figure out creative, we have our creative differences. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, that doesn't matter because we have one goal and we have one mission. And I feel that that really resonates with you guys to kind of like push that forward. So that's awesome to see.
yeah, no, I feel like it's definitely a process, and it starts like with building that good foundation on a friendship, you know what I'm saying, and having that strong relationship where we both understand what we want out of, you know, being able to do music professionally and stuff like that. And I feel like at the end of the day, like we have our like, you know how like whenever you like write a paper, you have like a thesis statement that you always go back to, like, okay, what's the goal? What is our end goal for this? Okay, how does this help us, you know, achieve that goal?
Right.
Because some stuff is worth doing. Some, you know, I wish I could say what I was doing on camera, but this past weekend, but I can't because I don't know if I can talk about it yet because it's not out. But
Right. I mean,
it
you
was,
can put it on here.
I mean, probably at this point, but I got booked to be one of the girls for Nelly's Apple Bottom
That's what's up.
rebrand, which was a super cool experience, and we got to go film the commercial at Busch Stadium as well as do
what's
some
up.
other photo shoots and
Congratulations.
stuff. Yeah,
That's
thank
awesome.
you. It was actually a lot of fun. It was really cool. It was a cool experience, and I was grateful to be able to do it. But like stuff like that, you know, like you're being around all industry people because, you know, whenever they fly in teams from New York or they're flying it, you're around people, and, you know, I got to make a lot of really cool connections. So for me, it was something that like, yeah, this totally ties into like what I'm doing, and it makes sense, you know, and it's St. Louis. So it's like, you know, I'm gonna do it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's what's up.
do it.
So kind of like tapping into like those like creative like juices and things like that when you're kind of collaborating, trying to figure out how you want your like music videos to look like. I just watched your most recent video, which was awesome, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
What was the thought process going into like how you wanted to look and how you wanted it to be perceived?
No, yeah. So for the Is It Love video, I feel like specifically I wanted to get more into the storytelling because I feel like that was something that I wanted to showcase more as like my writing has gotten better and my pen's developed. Like I feel like I've done a lot better with the narrating and the storytelling. So that's something that I really wanted to showcase in the music video. And then also just like pushing myself outside my comfort zone and working with a choreographer. Imani, she is so wonderful and I absolutely love her. We had been talked about, you know, working together on a video for I think like 6 or 7 months, like a long time, like a really, really long time. And I just felt like this project was perfect, you know, for her to be involved in. And she did a fabulous job, and I could not have asked for it to turn out any better. All of the dancers that danced in it did amazing. The male lead DJ, he did fabulous too. And honestly, it went so smooth. Like I literally could not believe how smooth it went, like too smooth. Like I was like, okay, this is all working. Cause I feel like with music videos, I always like bite off more than I could chew, but it always has a way of working out.
Right.
Yeah.
And like, because you did that for your, I believe this is your newest song, Is It Love? And kind of like me listening to the song, and you can touch on this because obviously you wrote it. It seemed like I really resonated with it because at one point, it was hard for me to really kind of like understand the culture of like this dating culture. Like
Yeah.
I feel like we're in a situation where like I took it as like, is this like a thing or like what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Or even if you are in a relationship, like is this the person I'm supposed to spend the rest of my life with? Or
Yeah.
like are they making me grow? Like I feel like there's so many of those questions that go in and out of your brain. So to kind of like the question I'm going with this is, where did that come from to write that song?
So that's a good question because I know the exact day and I know exactly what I was doing. I know exactly what I was thinking when I wrote it. It was I was confused. If I'm gonna be super honest with you, I really didn't know in my life, I feel like, especially like as I looked at my life, like over the last 2 years specifically, I feel like all of the friendships, relationships, everything that was going on, I just was confused because I felt like I had been used in a lot of ways. And I felt like there was a lot of things that I was taking out on people that I didn't need to take out. And I just, felt like when I got it's funny because whenever I write songs, I normally get the hook first. For this one, I got the verse, which that never happened. So it was just weird because I sat there in the studio. He was literally building the beat and I'm just sitting there writing, and I got the verse first, which is so weird. And then the second that he started to have something, I was like, I gotta record. I have to record because I was like, at least let me put something down. But we wrote it so fast, and it was in a time space at the beginning of the year where I had just dropped Stay. And there was a lot going on at the studio, and there's always a lot going on at the studio if we're going to be super honest. But I feel like I was just really confused because I didn't know how I felt about, certain things in certain situations. And I just knew that like I wanted something that felt real, which I kind of like expressed that like in the song. And I felt like I had that, or I was experiencing that, but I didn't know if it was genuine or coming from a real place. And because sometimes, and for me, is it love? Yes, I'm singing about a romantic relationship, but you can take it as like a platonic way too, because I feel like I'd been in friendships where people were benefiting off the fact that I'm, connected with people, or, I can introduce them to people, or I can, whatever. Or I would argue that I'm a very giving person. If you're friends with me, you know that will do anything for my friends. Or if there's an opportunity where I can help somebody, I will always try to connect people too. And I felt like I'd kind of been taken advantage of in certain situations. So I think for me, it wasn't just romantic, it was also platonic. And so for me, that's why the feelings and the emotions were so deep with that record, and why I feel like it resonated with so many people, because it means so many different things to so many different people. And like our dating culture is literally trash. Trash. It's so bad. It's so bad.
And I feel like also with that, as you grow older, certain things that you may care about, you just don't care about anymore. And I looked at your song as from a standpoint as like, you're evolving, but maybe the person that you're friends with, you're in a romantic relationship with, maybe isn't evolving with you. And I feel like you can, in that struggle where like, do you cut this person off, or do you wait for them to grow? Where like sometimes in the end, that love does die, because where you were maybe 3 years ago, you're not the same person you are today.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I feel like we constantly change. And for me, even my music changes, like as I'm like evolving, like how I'm writing changes, you know what I'm saying? So I think it's important to be with somebody that communicates clearly. And I feel like sometimes when you're in a space where there's confusion and there's gray area, sometimes people capitalize on that and show their ass and do what they want to do the whole time. I'm sorry, because that came out so directed.
You're good.
I sound so bitter right now.
No, you're fine.
Oh, no, that's so bad.
Oh, man.
Oh, I'm trying to be healed. Let me be
you're
healed.
good. Hey, sometimes you just got to just let it out.
Yeah,
It's all
sometimes
good.
you have to let it out.
It's all good. We're not hating. We're not hating at all. No, that's awesome.
I feel like sometimes like the devil's in the details, and people, they'll use those, gray areas, or like to do what they really want to do. And it's like, all right, this is the kind of person you've been this whole time. Thank you for telling me.
And that even comes down with like friendships too. Like I'm 25 now. Like I still have a lot of love for people that I grew up with. Do I hang out with those guys anymore? No, because at the end of the day, everybody has a different path and everybody has a different purpose. And like where God is leading me, and I'm religious when I say that, like I feel like he's leading me a different path than what he's leading for like people that like were in my past at some point. And that is okay. Like everybody has that purpose where you're okay to move on in a different way, and you shouldn't feel like you have to hold that or feel like that trauma that like you need to keep that or hold that weight.
And I feel like that's where I struggle with this, because I grew up in church, and I'm still have a relationship with God, but I feel like my relationship with church is kind of funny, because I feel like the things that I experienced were it was a lot. And I feel like for me, I struggle with letting people go because I don't look at relationships like seasonally. I don't treat people like seasonally. Like if we're locked in, like I'm cool with you forever.
Exactly.
Like that's how I grew up. That's how I was raised to treat people. I wasn't raised to treat people like they're just, I'm an opportunist.
Right.
But it's kind of, I feel like I really struggled with that because I feel like this generation very much looks at people like, for people always like, oh, a season or a reason. Like, no, and I'm not either. But I do feel like over the last 2 years, I have learned to kind of let go with people and just let people do what they want. Because at the end of the day, people are either going to stay or they're not. And you can't force somebody to do something they don't want to do.
Exactly.
And if they want to be in your life, they'll be there. They'll show up for you. And especially if it's a guy. If a guy wants you, you won't have to question anything. You won't have to ask questions. You're not going to be confused. There's not going to be gray area. He will tell you exactly what he wants and how he's going to get it from you.
Actions speak louder than words.
Yeah, exactly. So.
And that's funny you say that, because I got homegirls now that like will come to me and vent to me about like their problems with guys, and like I've told them straight up, a guy's gonna tell you like what he wants when he wants. It's just sometimes it doesn't resonate all the time because you do care about that person and you see the potential in them and what they want. But sometimes like at the end of the day, if they can't find their own potential, you got to let that go, and that's okay. Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. 100%.
And not everybody's in the space to handle something that's like more serious. And then for me though, I'm not the kind of person though that I can just date no, I can't do that. Like I have to be like serious, because like I just don't look at people like that. I'm still, even though like I still let people like be themselves and like do their thing, like I can't look at people like they're seasonal. I just can't do that. I don't know. It's just not in me. I just can't.
So what's the ideal guy for Faith Miller? Let's hear it.
That's so funny because they literally asked me this last weekend, and I was like, guys, I haven't thought about it. This is what I'll say. I don't feel like I don't want to put like specific like tall, handsome. Like I don't want to put specific things like that out there. I feel like for me, I just want to be so comfortable with myself that it really takes a lot for a man to move me or for me to be impressed with. And I don't really get impressed, I feel like, super duper often. I feel like the most attractive thing a man could do to me is learn me. And like my mom always says like good, like us, because they've been married for like 30 plus years, my parents have. So, and trust me, there was times where I was like, I don't know how y'all are still married. But I mean, I feel like there's something to be said about people who, make a commitment and, stay together. And I completely think marriage is a beautiful thing, and I completely would want to get married one day. I don't know if that'll ever happen, but I think you should always build a friendship with somebody first before you really get to know them like that. So for me, there's not like going to be one guy. Like I'd have to be friends with somebody for a really long time in order to even look at them like romantically. And that's me giving away all the sauce. I feel like I was trying to be so mysterious.
I mean, sometimes it's always good to hear a different perspective, like about how people perceive relationships and how they think. And like, it's really interesting when you say that, because like hearing your parents were married for 30 years, I feel like nowadays people hear that, they're like you said, how? Like, how is that even a possible thing? And that's something you can learn from them too.
I mean, for my parents though, my mom always told me it's a choice. I wake up every day and I choose to love your dad. I don't wake up every day and like, oh my God, he just, peas, roses, and, and just everything is freaking amazing and sunshine and rainbows. Like it's not, but it's a choice, that he chooses, or they choose to love each other.
Right. So kind of going off of like your parents, do they support your music, and do they like really like are avid, like, do whatever they're kind of like, ugh?
I would say that they do support my music. They don't support the outfits. No, they do. No. I'm sorry. I'm trying not to laugh into the microphone.
I'm lost already. I already laughing, so it's all good.
No. They like me doing music. I think when my parents, I've always been able to sing. Like I've grown up being able to sing. I think my parents really wanted me to sing in church my whole life because they thought like that was going to be what I did. And so choosing to pursue music, secular music, I guess is the word for it. Kind of, I don't think it threw them off, but they were just a little bit like, not disappointed, but it wasn't like what they wanted from me.
Exactly.
So I guess you could say they were disappointed. But no, they are supportive of the music as long as there's like no cuss words, or I'm not talking about anything crazy, or like my last music video, I showed it to my mom because I was so proud of it. And she was just like, yeah, I could have did without the scene of you two in bed. And I was like, oh.
Y'all weren't touching though.
I know. But my mom, that's just my mom though. Like, she's just like that. So she doesn't like, she's like the type of Christian lady that like, she only listens to like actual worship music, like not like any fun like Christian pop music, like no, like just like take me to the king. Like
some
that's
of that
it.
stuff be hidden though. I'm not
I know
gonna lie
it
to you.
does,
Some
but
of
like every day is a lot.
That is
like
a lot.
every point of every day is just a lot.
And you're on your purpose too, and this is
Yeah.
something that you know that's resonating and it's doing well for you. So at some point it's just like our parents aren't going to like everything that we're going to do. It's a different society than what we live from, like what our parents may perceive the world, and that's okay. Like, you're not doing anything harmful and it fills your cup, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, I mean, I think my parents are proud of how hard I work, though. I will say that. I think they do very much, like, it makes them feel proud, like, doing all the things that... They love the Whitney Houston record. That one gets played all the time. That and at my grandparents' house. That one they love. But, yeah. No.
How do the grandparents feel about your music?
Oh, they like my music. Honestly, I would argue that my grandparents not support me more, but they're
like, do your thing.
Yeah, no, I mean, they'll comment on something before, like my parents do, like on social media. Like my grandma will send me messages and stuff on Instagram.
That's sweet.
You know, and she sees stuff, but like, oh, and they cried too whenever they watched the Whitney Houston cover video. They cried. Oh my gosh, yeah. I don't think either of my parents cried, but my grandparents did.
Wow,
yeah,
that's awesome. So was Whitney Houston somebody that you really like admired growing up and things?
Yeah, she was like one of like the only. It was like her, Celine Dion, and there was a few others that like because like I grew up in church and it was pretty strict, so I wasn't able to listen to like all kinds of music. That doesn't mean that I still did, but but Whitney was probably somebody that I always listened to, and I think for me it was like the technique and stuff in her voice that I would always listen for and always try to mimic and stuff, just because I feel like I'm the kind of person where I taught myself how to play piano by ear. So like the way that like I learned like a lot of music was by ear. So
and I've heard from people in the industry they've always told me when it comes to like music, you never want to replicate who somebody is or what they've already done because they've already done it. But like, who are some people that outside of Whitney Houston that like you kind of draw from, that you really like what they do and you kind of try to implement it in like your game plan, like how you make music?
Ooh, someone that I feel like isn't like as like mainstream, but is still, I would argue mainstream, is Seven Streeter. I feel like she's so cool and she has this like energy about her, and the way she writes her songs is so like silky, and the way she talks about sex is so like mysterious in the things that she's talking about, especially with like music too. Like, you don't want to be graphic, like you just want to tease people.
Exactly.
And I feel like for me, like growing up the way that I did, I had to get comfortable with like, okay, like talking about sex and things that like I'm experiencing and things that I enjoy, and like learning about myself. And the way that she talked about sex was so like revolutionary for me that I was like, oh my God, like, because I mean, you've got people like Sabrina Carpenter that have this whole like cutesy like image that's very like, it seems very like cookie cutter, but then a lot of the stuff she's talking about is like nasty, which I think is like perfect. I love that. I love that for her. But the way that Seven just talks about stuff is just so like, it just like, you just want to eat her up. Like, it's just, I don't know, I just love her. Everything she does is fucking amazing.
No, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. No, how do you kind of like can keep yourself in a situation where like you don't let like distractions get in the way, or like you just keep yourself not so much motivated, but like just keep going and not let certain things like get in the way for you to pursue everything you want to do?
I feel like I do get kind of overwhelmed and really stressed out a lot here, especially here recently. With the holidays and stuff, I feel like everything just always gets crazy because everybody wants to do something.
Exactly.
But I would say, honestly, like working out has been something that like I feel like I've been doing, or making sure that I set aside time, because that's like my area to like decompress and kind of just let go. And like I went through a couple health issues in 2023 where I found out I passed kidney stones. Shout out to my dad who gave me that problem.
What?
Yeah, no, I know. I'm 24 passing kidney stones. It was horrendous. Like, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, horrible.
You didn't know at all? Like...
Yeah, I passed 3 in like one, like, it It was like between March and July, I passed 3, like in 2023.
Wow.
Yeah. It was horrible. Yeah. Yeah. So I feel like I kind of started to take my health a little bit more seriously because I was like, I need to, like, I'm 24. There's no reason I should be passing kidney stones at this, young of an age. But no, working out has kind of been like my way of kind of like taking care of myself and letting myself kind of decompress and giving myself space. And then also not overbooking myself. Like if I'm like going down to record, I need to just focus on like recording, not trying to do too many things all in one trip, because I used to do that and then I'd burn out, and then I'm still working a full-time job on top of all of this. So it's like I'm at work and I'm like dying, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So, it's about balance and just making sure that if you're gonna work hard, you play hard too.
Exactly.
So I feel like with every song that I've dropped this year, I either bought myself something nice or I went out with my friends and had fun or went crazy, you know what I'm saying? Because I do feel like you deserve to be celebrated when you're working super hard.
Exactly.
Because you have to motivate yourself.
100%.
Yeah.
And I feel like one word that comes to mind in everything is monotonous. Like, I feel like pushing through monotonous is one of the hardest things. And I feel like, especially in this generation now, it's so much harder because there's always so much going on to where it's hard to like keep one focus on things, to where some days that there are going to be days that you have a consistent schedule that, like, I'm sure there's days where like you don't want to record, that you don't want to write or anything, but you do it anyway because you see that. So like, even with us, like there's days when we don't want to do podcast things, we don't want to record, but we see the end goal in that. So how do you even push through that monotonous and that kind of like that dull, like I just don't feel like doing this thing?
I feel like I've never had the feeling that like I don't want to record, but I have been tired, like really, really tired, and I just get an energy drink. That's honestly, that's so lame. I guess I don't know.
No, we were just talking about like what's our go-to energy drinks recently. So like, how many do you have a day?
No, I don't drink any. I try not to drink energy drinks like at all anymore. I drink coffee like crazy, which is like actually bad. I know, I'm working on it.
Like, I drink like 3 a day, so I
it's
can't.
So bad.
I can't say anything.
I mean, I'll drink an energy drink like if it's super late and I know, but like I really try to only have like one a month, just because like I do pass kidney stones. So it's like, because caffeine contributes to your body, like the calcium. I don't know all of it.
Well, now you're making me scared because I drink like 3 a day. So
no,
like,
yeah, you should quit. Like you should just be drinking straight coffee. Because plus if you drink like because like Ash is really big on like vitamins and supplements and stuff like that too. So like I always try to like stay up on like all the vitamins and things like that, so that you're having energy. Because like he went on tour and stuff with a lot of these guys. So like if you're gonna like party, you have to be able to get up the next day and do stuff. So you have to flood your body with vitamins. So you definitely, I definitely need to link the two of you, because I feel like you would learn a lot from him, and I feel like y'all would definitely get along.
We are down to meet Ash. That is a Louis
We're putting
legend.
it out there.
That man is. He's a St. Louis legend. Like, who wouldn't want to talk to a guy like that and pick his brain? Like, he's done so much for himself, done so much for the city, where even just like that small window, like he contributed to that. So I would love to meet a guy like that.
Yeah.
And just to even see how much he means to you just shows the kind of person he is.
Yeah, he's this person, the person that he is in my life, he's this person for so many other people. And he's like, and I said something like this about this last weekend too to somebody. I was just like, he's such a giver. Like in every relationship that he has, he is always a person that is like, he's pouring into other people. Gotcha. You know what I'm saying?
That's awesome. That's awesome. So kind of like talking about like you and his relationship, or even your career, where do you see yourself in about 5 years from now?
Definitely on a chart. Definitely touring, probably. The goal would to, I mean, I would love to have a situation, like I'd love to have a record deal and be like locked in with like a specific label. But I also feel like with the industry that we're in right now, it's not necessarily like necessary, but at the same time, it's just about like turning things into opportunity. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, I definitely see myself touring. Touring's like, and getting better at performing, that's like on my list to do. So, because I definitely feel like singing live and connecting with people like in person and like actually like that energy exchange that you have from like a crowd, from like when you're singing and stuff like that, like that's something that's so special to me, and it's something that makes me like, is the reason I fell in love with singing and fell in love with performing. So it's something that I really want to hone in and get better at, because I feel like it's something that I can really execute at a really good level. It's just a matter of me like taking the time to do it. I've been so focused on content, and really trying to feed people because, I don't have a whole lot of music out. So it's like, I really want to put out as much music as possible over this last year. So that's been my goal. But tapping into performing is the next step, I think, for me at, developing as an artist. So that, and then going on tour would definitely be, that's on there.
Right. And you mentioned earlier that you opened for like Young Jock, Skilla, Sleazy. What was it like kind of like opening up for those guys? Because those are some pretty big names in the game, especially Young Jock. Like,
yeah, there's a whole story about me opening for Young Jock because I was so nervous. I grew up watching Young Jock on Love and Hip Hop.
Mm-hmm.
And
Love and Hip Hop.
No, we love Love and Hip Hop. Literally, they need to make a St. Louis version of it.
No, they do not.
Yes, they do.
Hey, no, they do not.
Love and Hip Hop, the Lou sounds so good. Quit playing. I said it first.
If it happens, I'm blaming you.
No, I know it's gonna happen. I know all the right people to make it happen too. It's gonna be a thing. Man. Trust me. No. But I grew up watching him on Love and Hip Hop, and I loved him on that show. And that's where I first got introduced to him. And then afterwards, I kind of like fell in love with his music. Right. But no, I was so nervous, and I got so drunk right before I opened, and like I ended up like throwing up like 30 minutes before I was supposed to go on stage, and my friend was like trying to give me ice chips, like trying to get me to calm down because like I was so fucked up. It was so bad. But I got to talk to him afterwards, and that was really cool too. But I was so embarrassed. I was like, I really got too fucked up because I was so nervous.
Did you like keep a distance so he didn't smell and you like puke or anything?
Oh my God, yes. I was so scared the whole time. I was literally like, let me not get in this man's face.
Oh man.
No, that's so bad. Oh my God. But no, opening for Skilla and Sleazy was actually really cool. I feel like that's the biggest crowd I've ever performed in front of, and just the energy was really good. Kansas City in general has such good vibes because that's where it was.
Love Kansas City.
And I feel like it doesn't matter like what kind of music people make, like you can vibe with like anybody and anything. And so it was such a special moment to be able to like perform in front of that many people. Exactly. I had a lot of fun, and the energy I received I feel like was really, really good. So even though they didn't come there to see a white girl sing a pop song, you know what I'm saying? Like they were fucking with me.
They got it. So that's all that matters. Yeah. That's what's up though. No, that's awesome. Especially like even having that opportunity, that is just like something that like is just speaks volumes in itself. And like one thing I've noticed with you and just talking to you is that you do a really good job seizing the opportunity when it's like given to you. And I feel with that, Ash definitely helps that because having somebody, like I said, in that corner always helps. But, like, where's that mindset come from where, like, anything you take it, but, like, you excel and then trying to go 100 times over with it?
I feel like this is my dream. This is what I want to do. You have to put yourself out there. It's like, it's not Ash's dream. It's my dream. I have to be the one to, want to do this and want to wake up and go drive every time I'm doing something. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have to be the one that wants to do this at the end of the day. Cause like, this isn't just his dream. I mean, do I hope it's his dream for me? Yeah, of course. But this is my dream at the end of the day. So it's like, if I want to make it happen, like I have to do it. So I feel like for me, it's important to just, like I said, if it makes sense, if it aligns with my brand, then like do it, you know what I'm saying? So
for the audience to kind of like understand, how far do you drive every single day to record?
Every single day? So I drive, I don't know, what's the distance between, it's about 3 hours for me to record at the studio, and I'm at the studio like every weekend. Yeah.
Wow. 3 hours? So how far do you have to drive, though, from wherever you are? It's 3 hours?
Yeah, it's 3 hours. Whatever length that is. I don't know how many miles that is.
Why not just move to St. Louis?
No, I was planning on it. This ties into a whole lot of things. I was planning on it, but I feel like for me, it just makes sense in my situation to not be in St. Louis full time, just because it's like especially like where I live in my hometown, it's so affordable to like live there, and then I can save all of my money for music stuff.
That's true.
So it's like I can just, plan and execute everything at the level that I want to. Whereas, I mean, I could be in St. Louis every day, but I probably get in a lot more trouble. You know what I'm saying?
Fair. Vices are around.
I mean, I'd be here all the time, but then also I feel like I kind of like to be in and out of like certain situations and not get caught up in the drama, especially at the rate that I'm moving. It's like I really want to move like with precision, but with speed too. Exactly. So it's like I don't have time to get into all the and
100%.
sometimes
And that's cool that you know
drama
that.
just be
And you know yourself and you know where you want to go, and like that's the biggest thing too, where like you don't have to be around that if you don't need to be. So that's awesome though. That's really cool. So let's see. You said 5 years from now you hope to be on a chart. You hope to be touring one day. Who is somebody that you look at, and I know it's probably gonna be Lotto, but who is somebody that you picture you want to work with one day?
Lotto, and I already know what kind of a record I want to do with her.
Oh,
like I've already talked about it. Like me and Ash, we've already put it out there in the air.
Heck yeah.
Yeah,
But in the
sure.
vicinity.
Yeah.
Is there anybody else outside of her?
I always say Mariah the Scientist as well, just because I really do like Mariah's like vibe and her pen, and I really do enjoy her like aesthetic and the kind of artist that she is. I feel like I know she has a lot going on with Thug right now, so she's not even interested in probably working with other people, but
Shout out to Thug, he is free.
no, for real. But I do love Mariah, and I really do love her vocals. And she's somebody that I feel like would be so much fun to like actually write a song with. And for me, I feel like that would be the experience that I really want to take away from her. But then also Lotto, I think would be really fun to write a song with too, because she's so funny and witty. And kind of to be a rapper, or to be a singer, or write music, like you kind of have to have personality.
Exactly, so, you do. And I feel like that's why like people like her, Sexy and Glow, have done a really good job of not just with their music, but just marketing themselves.
Yeah.
Where they're just in positions where like it could be people that don't even know who they are, but people want to work with them. Like Glorilla just did a song with Maverick City Music. Like no one would have expected like those people to ever collaborate, but like just being her presence and just honestly just being them 110%, who wouldn't want to work with that? So just to kind of see what they're doing, like in my opinion, the girls are running the game right now.
No, they really are. It's actually insane. I don't think anybody really saw this happening.
No.
Like, I mean, well, obviously Nicki did, but I don't even think like.
It's at a way
I think they just thought
level,
Nicki was just going to be like, oh, one female artist that's, taking over the rap game. I don't think they expected it to be a whole wave of female rappers like taking over like the rap game. Because I feel like rap was the dominant category there for a minute too. I don't think it is right now, personally. I would argue that it's country music. But I do think that female rap is pushing rap music. It's carrying rap music.
Why do you think that is right now?
About country music
or why is rap not caring what it once was?
I think that it's because the streams aren't turning over into concert tickets. Because rap music is so violent, you get people like Lil Durk and Lil Baby, and their concerts are getting shot up, and it's like an actual problem. Like, who wants to go to a concert if you might die?
Yeah.
And I just think that while rappers get a whole ton, and this is just my opinion, you can take it with a grain of salt. Nobody like come after me and be like, she don't know shit about rap music.
Exactly.
Like, I'm just giving my opinion. I think that it's just like you'll open the news and it's like somebody goes to somebody's concert and it's like literally a shooting or something. And it's like when you're going to go to a concert, you're going, there for an experience. You're not going there to, have your life threatened. So, which I mean, I don't know. It is what it is. You could go out to the club and still get your life threatened, but I just think that for rap music specifically, I just think that people want something different.
Heck yeah.
So.
Yeah, 100%. Nothing's wrong with that. And I'm an avid advocate for rap music. Like, I grew up loving rap music. I love rap music. Like, it's always going to be that. But I think at some point I have noticed, because those streams aren't turning into ticket sales, where, like, at the same time, just because they have a good song on the stream doesn't mean they're going to be a good performer. And that's not taken away from anybody, but it just shows you how good of a performer, how much importance that like stage presence is when it comes to like that transition.
Now, I will argue this. I think because rap was so big, I think it's like found its like fluidity into other genres. And I think it's like seeping into other genres. Like we've got people like Morgan Wallen that are like, Ash and I always joke about Morgan Wallen being a country rapper. But like, no, seriously, like if you actually listen to his music, a lot of his songs are like actually beats, like the way that they like map out the song.
Exactly.
Now, that's not to say that he's the only artist that's like that, but I think there's a lot of artists where, rap has been such the dominant category for a long time that it's just seeped its way into other things. And I think that's so cool to watch music change and evolve. But you've got people like, Beyonce that came off of their huge Renaissance tour and stuff like that, and Sabrina Carpenter, those are like and Taylor Swift, those are like the memorable tours that like people want to see from. Like, do you have, or do people think about like a Lil Baby tour in the same way?
Yeah.
Now I'll say this: if Drake went on tour,
Well, that's what
that
I
would
say,
sell
Drake,
out.
yeah.
It would sell out. It'd be like the same thing. Like it would, it would go crazy.
And that's what it was for the last Drake tour that I even went to that concert. Like, he really put on a good performance.
But
like,
Drake isn't just a rapper, though.
No.
That's the thing. He's an artist.
Yes.
Like, and there's a huge difference where you've got some of these guys are just rappers. They're not fully developed artists yet because they had songs go huge because they blew up super early.
Right.
So they're not,
Yeah. So kind of touching on that, like, not gun-shying yourself to like one genre and one. What do you want your legacy and what do you want your music to be perceived when people look at you? Like, who do you want them to perceive Faith Miller to be?
I think I'm a lot of things for a lot of different people. So I don't know if I can narrow it down to just one, but I think specifically, I would want people to just feel something, and I would want them to know that, like, that's where my heart is. I love making music. I eat, sleep, and breathe music, everything. Like, I feel like that's my purpose in life. That's what I was created to do. Like, I literally feel like I'm working in my purpose whenever I'm creating music. Like, there is no plan B. There's no something else I was going to do or should be doing or could do. For me, this is it. So I would hope that people would take away, like, in a legacy from me is, the moment, making music and just, like, not just being a good singer, but also being, like, a writer.
Right.
Because a lot of the hits that Mariah Carey wrote, like, or her top-selling hits, like, she actually wrote. Like, her biggest songs, like, she wrote. And I think a lot of people don't know that about her. But that was something that I found out, like 5 years ago, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, that's crazy, because like all her songs, we think she, we would just assume she has this huge like writing team and stuff like that, but and I'm sure she does have a huge writing team too, but
100%.
still, like, her, being able to be an overall like well-rounded artist and be able to write, I think is, a special skill.
Yeah. And one thing that I've said earlier too, and this is like something like when we were connecting to, that like you're unapologetically you. And I feel like, obviously, like, I've listened to your music. I love your music. But, like,
Thank you.
I was a more bigger fan of the person. Like,
Yay.
Like, we met through mutual friends. So, like, that's how we had that connection. But, like, you just being you, I feel like it's just so authentic and just so real that I want to see that more in society. And that's something that, like, you're not afraid to be you. Like, and I think from my end, like, it's awesome to see. So, I'm really happy for you that you're, like, pushing to be you.
Oh, thank you. That actually means a lot to me. Like, I feel like I don't ever get like compliments on like being a person. So that, I appreciate that. I received that. That was really sweet.
Yeah,
you did not have to say that.
No, and I meant that for real, because I feel like when people look at us, like, you were joking with us saying like, men, like, you thought we were gonna ask you some
me a million
crazy things on the camera. We're like I kind of said earlier, we're really big on helping people to push their own narratives, find their own voice, and hearing just like your testimonies of like a man listening to your music while he's recovering from an injury, like that just shows like the raw individual that you are, and just hearing the stories that you're just talking about, like not afraid to say you threw up on Young before you talked to Young Jock. Like,
I didn't throw up on him. Correction. No.
Well, before.
No, yeah.
Before.
Yeah.
But like you just being you, like people receive that and they acknowledge that, and like even just us talking, I've received that even more. That like you're not afraid to be you, and you're not afraid to take those risks, especially in a situation where everybody's gonna always say what they want to say.
Yeah.
But you're continuing to pursue your dreams, and you will do anything hell bent to get there.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Like I'm
on a mission. You
are.
feel me?
Yeah, we're on a mission too. Like we're in a place where we're not at all where we want to be, but we're gonna do each and everything to get to where we want to be each and every day. And I feel like that's the part of like figuring out, doing something to make yourself 1% better every single day.
No, I agree. And it's about being comfortable being in that place where you're always hungry. Because in order to like, you have to accept at some former, like, it doesn't matter what I'm doing, I'm always going to be like, oh, I could be doing something bigger. I could be doing, and I feel like that's a good place to say, and being comfortable, being like, I'm never going to be satisfied
100%.
Just,
100%. 100%. Well, Faith, we appreciate you even taking the time, I know, out of your busy schedule, making you drive 3 hours to get here. We appreciate you so much. Men, the podcast, we're huge fans of you, and we are excited to see everything that you do with your career and your life. So again, we appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. It was great to be here.
Of course,
They
of
don't
course.
even know what the problem is. It's me. You waiting on the boy to fail, then hold your breath and face your death.